President reveals the main challenge that stands before the country.
රුපියල් කෝටි 9 ලක්ෂයක ණයක් තිබෙනවා. ඒ තත්ත්වයේ තුල ඒ කියන්නේ බිලියන් 9000ක අපි රටක් විදියට අසීරු තැනක ඉන්නවා.
Varying views expressed by the government on the reappointment of the central bank governor.
මගේ මතය නම් එතුමා වයින් කරන්නේ.
මේ පක්ෂයේ ඒකමතිකව ගත්ත තීරණයක් තමයි මහ බැංකුවේ අධිපතිතුමාට නැවත වරක් පත්වීමක් දිය යුත්තේ නැහැ කියලා.
ඒ විතරක්මදී එයා රටින් පැනලා යන එකත් නැවැත්විය යුතුයි.
Thondaman, Douglas Devananda and Athaula pledge allegiance to the UPFA.
Protests turn violent in Venezuela as the country grapples chronic food shortages.
A very good evening to you. You're watching Primetime News, come to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo with me, Florine Rajendran.
A very good evening to all our viewers. I'm Joel Outscoot. We start off with a look at our local stories first.
A new Supreme Court judge was sworn in before President Maithripala Sirisena today.
President's counsel Prasanna Sujiva Jayawardena took oath as a Supreme Court judge before President Maithripala Sirisena this morning. Meanwhile, the president met with a group of lawyers at the presidential palace yesterday. During the meeting, the president urged them to unite to choose a better path for the future of the country.
මේ රටය නිදහස් ස්වාධීන රටක් විදියට මේ රටේ ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන්ම
It is my responsibility to ensure that this country is portrayed as one of which is independent and free of allegations leveled by the international arena. We should join forces with people in the country as well as expats to create a country that can be accepted by everyone. The country is in a precarious situation because of this. It is our challenge and it is everyone's responsibility to ensure that we develop this country and escape this situation. So lend us your intelligence, expertise and experience devoid of any differences. Together, let us reconstruct this nation.
සියලු වාද ભેද වලින් තොරව අපක්ෂපාතීව මධ්‍යස්ථව අපි සෑම කෙනෙක්ම එකට එකතු වෙලා මේ රට ගොඩනගන්න.
And in news from the courts this evening, Yoshida Rajapaksa was granted bail by the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court over the alleged purchasing of a plot of land located down Meenuma within Mount Lavinia worth 501 million rupees. He was granted bail after being produced to court by the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division.
Notice was issued for Yoshida Rajapaksa to appear before court today. During the hearing today, Mount Lavinia Chief Magistrate Mohammed Sahabdeen released Yoshida Rajapaksa on 3 sureties of 1 million rupees each. He was also ordered to report to the police FCID on last Sunday of the month during the morning hours.
The case regarding my grandmother's land and that house that was given to me was taken up today. I was told to come to court today, after which I was released on bail.
The case is to be taken up once again on the 11th of August. Meanwhile, the media spokesperson of the National Freedom Front, Mohammed Muzammil, appeared before the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division today. He was summoned to obtain a statement on the charge of allegedly using vehicles of the Presidential Secretariat in an illegal manner. UPFA parliamentarian Udaya Mampilla was also summoned to the police FCID today. The MP was summoned to record a statement over an incident where he was allegedly given an attorney license.
The economy of the country and the current political situation were topics of discussion that were tackled during a media briefing organized by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party held today.
We have decided to incorporate several other parties into our alliance. The CWC led by Thondaman and the EPDP of Douglas Devananda as well as ALM Athaula's National Muslim Congress. These are breakaway groups. We hope to bring in several other parties and reach a memorandum of understanding and make them a group that will enable them to act as organizers of the United People's Freedom Alliance.
Questions were raised about the possibility of joint opposition MPs extending their support to the government.
Let me give you a small hint. Take a look at those who voted and those who did not vote. Look at those who did not vote and decide for yourselves. I am not saying that all these people will join us, but you can look into it.
The minister also commented on taxes.
VAT is not imposed on cigarettes and liquor. A separate tax affects them. However, we have decided to exempt them from the VAT concessions. Thereby, VAT will affect cigarettes, BD and liquor. The VAT on health-related tests, including dialysis, have been removed. The VAT on air tickets has also been removed. The levy imposed on crude palm oil has been increased from 130 to 550 rupees. The levy on refined palm oil has increased from 150 to 170. This is a request that was made from those in the coconut oil sector. These proposals will be presented to Cabinet on Tuesday.
An elaboration was also made on the Port City project.
There was a debate on the work on the Port City. All that is over. They are now beginning their work.
Minister Faisal Mustafa commented on local government polls.
The tenure of 23 local government bodies will end on the 30th of this month. Although I have been vested with the power, I will be making a decision with the blessings of the President and the Prime Minister. I will reach a decision following a discussion with the President and the Prime Minister before the 30th.
State Minister Palitha Rangabandara convened a media briefing at the UMP headquarters, Sirikota, today.
In the next couple of days, 6 or 7 members will break away from the so-called joint opposition. It appears that those defectors will join the government. Day by day, this group is fading away.
The State Minister also commented on vehicular taxes.
There was criticism when it was said that it was a measure to minimize the number of vehicles that enter the country. If a commoner wants to purchase a vehicle, there will be no obstruction. The prices of 16 different types of vehicles have dropped by almost 200,000 rupees.
Will the FCID be disbanded? This was another question raised by the State Minister.
The government has no desire to disband the FCID. The President nor the Prime Minister has any such desire. We wish to convert the FCID into a more independent investigative unit that would have enhanced powers.
Views are also expressed on MP Mahindananda Alutgamage being named as a member of COPE.
There is a saying that you need a thief to catch one. That is the process undertaken by Dinesh Gunawardena.
Minister Lakshman Kiriyala reiterated today that it is the government's stance that the tenure of the central bank governor should be extended.
Meanwhile, speaking at a media briefing today, Minister Dr. Sarath Amunugama said that the stance of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party is that the central bank governor's tenure should not be extended.
The tenure of the governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka comes to an end on the 30th of June. Given the controversial bond transactions that came to the fore during the course of his tenure, a debate has arisen on whether the tenure of the central bank governor should be extended. Cabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne said yesterday that the central bank governor's tenure will not be extended. However, Minister Lakshman Kiriyala gave these responses to the media following an event held in Putlam today.
රාජිත ඇමතුමාගේ මතය තමයි ඒක. නමුත් මගේ මතය නම් එතුමා වයින් කරන්නේ නැහැ.
ඒ කියන්නේ පක්ෂය ඇතුලේ දෙකක්ද මත?
නෑ ඒක ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ. කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක්.
ජනාධිපතිතුමායින් රාජිත ඇමතුමත් එක්කද?
ජනාධිපතිතුමායින් අගමැතිතුමත් එක්ක.
අපේ පක්ෂයේ ඒකමතිකව
Our party took a unanimous decision to recommend to the President that the central bank governor should not be reappointed. We believe that whatever the internal issues there may be, if there is a huge suspicion and distrust in the country regarding a particular person, then that person should not be in such a position. When the previous Chief Justice was changed, many at first sight said that there is an issue with his appointment. According to the Constitution, there was no issue regarding his appointment legally. Similar to the judiciary, the central bank is also an institution which the people and the international community should trust to be independent and transparent. As a responsible government, we should work towards the public's trust. Everyone is of the notion that they have lost faith in the central bank. As a party, we have made a request to our party leader, His Excellency the President. It is no longer the Prime Minister who has the power to extend his tenure. It is the President. If so, the president can bring an end to his tenure without extending it. But this is not the only request being made by the people of the country. We should ensure that he is prevented from leaving the country as well. A broad investigation must be held against him.
COPE and the Governor of the Central Bank were topics raised on the Newsline program this morning.
In the previous Parliament, COPE received various informations from the Central Bank. In this Parliament, we're told that they're refusing to provide it to COPE, but that COPE is welcome to come to the Central Bank and look into their records and so on and so forth. Why the difference?
The only communique issued by the government says that there are certain defences that are available, there are certain matters where it's not possible for the Central Bank to make disclosures.
Yeah.
Now here is the issue that is being investigated by Parliament, by the people's representatives, by the highest legislative body in the country. Now if they are not prepared to give information to that body taking cover under these defences, I think that's a shameless defence to take, because one must have a government that speaks of transparency, must present all the material so that that adjudication body can make a determination.
Can just friends and members of a certain group run the country at the expense of professionalism?
That is the very allegation made against the last administration, which the people took it very seriously and dumped the administration. Now this administration, in its first few weeks of office, have committed the same error, and they are continuing to do so. So I think, unlike the last government, which had 2 terms because of the war, this government and its supporters should be very mindful of the fact that there's going to be a reaction to this. People are not going to take it lying down. What is going to matter is not what Mr. Wickremesinghe thinks, but what the people think when they go to the polling booth.
The final rites of late Alawi Maulana, the former governor of the Western Province, was carried out this evening at the Jumma Mosque in Devala.
President Maithripala Sirisena visited the Dehiwala residence of the late Alawi Maulana this morning to pay his last respects. Alawi Maulana, the former governor of the Western Province, passed away last evening at the age of 84. A number of politicians were among those who gathered today to pay their last respects.
He was one of the most senior leaders in our country. He was active in the party for over 50 years. He was committed towards the working class and the party. He was even imprisoned and suffered various injuries. At a time like this, his demise is a great loss.
The late Alawi Maulana can be considered as a leader of the SLFP who has been there since the beginning and carrying the flag forward.
The veteran politician entered politics in 1948 as a trade union activist and led many struggles. Thereafter, he joined the Sri Lanka Freedom Party in 1960. He went on to serve as a councillor in the Colombo Municipal Council. Alawi Maulana first entered Parliament in 1994 and during his illustrious career served as the Deputy Minister of Media, Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government, as well as the Minister of Labour. The late Alawi Maulana, who also served as a senior vice president of the SLFP, was appointed as the 5th governor of the Western Province on the 2nd of February 2002. He served as governor until the 23rd of January 2015.
The remains of late Somavansh Amarasinghe, the former leader of the JVP, was brought to the residence of his sister in Palavatta, Batharamulla.
The remains of the late former leader of the JVP are currently placed at number 35 Singhapura Palavatta, Batharamulla. A number of individuals, including politicians, arrived at the location to pay their last respects.
He has gone through many hardships for the liberation of the people. He has made many sacrifices. He has always brought a sense of trust and courage to the party. The loss of Comrade Amar Singh was a shock to the entire party. On behalf of the party, we salute our comrade.
I see
the passing of Somwan Amar Singh as a great loss to the country at a time when the country is moving forward with democracy.
He has been working for the people of this country for a long time. We condole his passing away.
Even though there was a certain disparity between our ideas, I must state that we respect and honor the sacrifices he made, as well as his determination.
And I'm sorry for the people of the country who have missed a very good socialist who could have made many more valuable contributions for the progress of the country.
The final rites of late Somavansa Amar Singh will be carried out at the Borella Cemetery on Saturday.
Welcome back. An event to celebrate Russia's National Day was held at the newly constructed Russian embassy in Sri Lanka yesterday.
The celebration, which was hosted by the ambassador of the Russian Federation to Sri Lanka, Alexander Karshava, saw the attendance of several high-profile dignitaries including Speaker Karuja Surya, ministers, public representatives, foreign diplomats and members of the business community.
Just to mention with certain pride that in the recent 4 years we are really together joining hands, we really did something. We signed several important agreements like cooperation in the sphere of nuclear research and exploration, and we managed to set up joint intergovernmental cooperation commission for our relations in the sphere of trade and economy, science and culture. And now this commission becomes a very important instrument for the whole complex of our bilateral relations.
Our relations with Russia was commenced in 1957 by opening our diplomatic missions, but our relations, actual relations, goes long beyond that. In view of the reconciliation process that the Sri Lanka has commenced, in considering the peaceful environment prevailing in the country, now there is a good environment for the investors of Russia that they can make their investment profitably, peacefully in Sri Lanka. We hope that we will be able to develop our trade links with Russia in the future.
Making the opening remarks at the seminar titled India-Sri Lanka Relations in the 21st Century, organized by the Bandaranaike Centre for International Studies, the Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Y.K. Singh, said that a genuine debate has now begun in Sri Lanka regarding the Economical and Technological Cooperation Agreement, also commonly known as the EDCA.
Sri Lanka is an integral part, in fact I would say even at the heart of Prime Minister Modi's Neighbourhood First policy. The Neighbourhood First policy recognizes that India's growth is linked to the prosperity of its neighbourhood and that the neighbours have a first claim on India's progress. Sri Lankan exports have used the FTA to enter Indian markets by availing of the FTA concessions, as nearly 60% of Sri Lanka's exports take advantage of these concessions. During his visit to India in September 2015, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe proposed concluding an Economic and Technology Cooperation Agreement, EDCA. We have welcomed this offer and look forward to discussions on how to elevate our FTA to include such areas as investment, services and technology cooperation. I'm aware that some in Sri Lanka have raised concerns about signing an ETCA with India, and I do believe that it is up to Sri Lankans themselves to decide on the contours of any agreement that they sign with any foreign country. However, I'm happy that a genuine debate has now begun in Sri Lanka on the issue, rather than a one-sided presentation of misinformation by some.
An event to mark the 118th Philippine National Day celebrations of the Republic of the Philippines was held in Colombo yesterday.
The event was held in the midst of High Commissioners, Ambassadors, Honorary Consuls, Cabinet Ministers, Members of Parliament, government officials and leading businessmen in Sri Lanka.
The government of Sri Lanka envisaged to pursue new initiatives in order to further strengthen and consolidate our long-standing relations. Sri Lanka offers a conducive, safe and stable environment to attract investment. This is therefore a high time for Philippine entrepreneurs to look up upon Sri Lanka, not only as an attractive business destination, but also as a gateway to the entire South Asian region. Sri Lanka and Philippines are two labor exporting countries with common issues related to labor migration. In this context, the two countries should forge an understanding for cooperation in this field within the context of the Colombo process and the Abu Dhabi dialogue.
The Philippines and Sri Lanka have witnessed significant leaps forward in terms of economic relations. I maintain a positive outlook in the opening of more avenues of cooperation and exchanges, especially in the fields of trade in goods and services, and I encourage Sri Lankan business executives and entrepreneurs to invest in the Philippines. The government of Sri Lanka, I stand with you in our shared aspirations for enhanced bilateral ties, so continuing people-to-people exchanges, cultural cooperation, education partnerships, trade facilitation, and tourism development activities.
Think again. Is your boat working for you?
See, in the past, countries like Singapore has taken Sri Lanka as an example to develop the country to where it is today. I am of the firm view that we still have the human resource, the natural resources, and the positioning of our country to be much more developed than some of those countries. But if you analyze the reasons why those countries have been able to develop so rapidly, you will always find that the right people have been given the right places. It's very important that we create a similar environment.
Think again. Is your boat working for you?
Sri Lanka athlete Hassan Mohammad Isafali, who successfully completed the Ironman triathlon held in Cairns, Australia earlier this week, arrived in the country today.
The Ironman triathlon was held on Sunday the 12th of June in Cairns, Australia. The triathlon, which took place with the participation of competitors from over 40 countries, included a 3.86 km sea swim, a 180 km bike ride and a 42.2 km run. A time limit of 16.5 hours was given for the competitors to complete the event. Hassan Mohammad Isafali, who represented Sri Lanka at the triathlon, managed to complete the race in a time of 15 hours, 33 minutes and 50 seconds.
It was an honor and a privilege to represent Sri Lanka at the championships, and proud to come back home with this medal. There were about 40 countries at the event. I'd like to thank my parents, my grandparents and all my good friends who have helped me along this way, my coach.
Well, with that, we wrap up primetime news here at News First. For the News First team, I am Florine Rajendran.
And before wrapping up, here's a reminder that you could keep abreast of the latest and trending stories on our award-winning website, www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First team, I'm Joel Outstream. Take care. Good night.